Howdy folks, this is Don't Draw Me Bro, and I have obviously another 1911. This is Sturm Ruger's SR1911. Been out on the market for a while now, about 4 years, and very popular guns. So I'm just going to go through a quick look at the gun and just go through my observations. It's been a while since I've done a 1911 video like this. The last one was the Smith & Wesson E-Series video from like 2 years ago. So, bear with me. First observations, obviously, stainless steel guns, a matte stainless, pretty attractive finish actually. Unlike most Ruger guns that didn't have the big billboard safety warnings and stuff, it's actually all in the dust cover right here. So it's kind of out of the way, it's kind of nice. But very attractive gun, pretty well fit. The slide to frame fit is really good, considering the price point. It's excellent actually. The barrel, the slide fit is pretty good. There's no front cocking serrations, which a lot of people, like me, really just don't like. Single-sided safety, which is definitely nice. As far as the grip safety, it's a little loose, but there are a lot of guns that are loose like that. I had a Springfield loaded that was pretty damn loose. The hammer it's also unloaded, by the way. Hammer is lightened. It's the Commander style hammer, but Ruger has their own stylized version of it. But let's go ahead and take this down. Lock it back, obviously, to make sure that we're empty. And then release it from the slide. Take it to the takedown stop. Pop that out. And a lot of people will just also undo the bushing, but sometimes, depending on how I feel, I may not even do that. But it's not that hard. People make too much of 1911s and how they take down. If I can remember which way the bushing has to turn. Up. Alright, I must stop that legend over. So, Ruger, it's kind of nice. You can actually take the plug out through the dust cover here, through the back, which is, unlike Colts. Colts you can only take out from the front. And your bushing just rotates out like so. Your dust cover, I'm sorry, your barrel, you just kind of finagle it through. And good. That's your fuel stripped 1911. Slide, frame, barrel, spring and guide rod, barrel bushing, guide plug, and slide stop. Just internally looking at this gun, unlike a lot of the newer Colts, the frame window cut out here for the slide stop, it's actually a window. There's not this little gap here. Colt did that on their guns because their 10mm frames would always crack right here. And a lot of high round count 1911s that still happens. But obviously this is a fairly new gun. It doesn't really have that issue. Feed ramp, which is right here, is really well polished. This area here, that a lot of people nickname the bow tie, the vertical impact surface, which is where a lot of the area from the lugs take a lot of abuse right there. It looks very well machined. These are cast frames, but from what my understanding is that they're the same type of castings that Caspian uses. Ruger has been excellent in castings for over 40 years. One of their advancements, at least with the case of 1911s, is that with their frames that are cast, they have the plunger tube is part of the frame. So it can't come loose and lock up your gun, which is definitely a nice thing. The ejector is fairly solid. There's a little bit of wiggle, but not anything too awful. And in any case, if it ever did come loose, the slide is in the way so it can't come out. The trigger is your lightweight aluminum with holes cut into it, and it's serrated in the front type. Very nice. It's got a little bit of play, but it still has an adjustment screw for over travel adjustment and creep. The grip safety is the type that has a bit of a bulge, so that if you don't have an absolutely perfect grip, you can still engage it. The mainspring housing is checkered, and it appears to be metal. I have to get a magnet somewhere and check that, but I think it's metal. The barrel. A lot of people are going to ask questions about it. It's got a pretty nice wide flare, so it should feed pretty much any type of ammo for 1911. So I don't know about Hornady Critical Defense. It tends to not feed in quite a few guns, not just 1911s. And I'd say just looking through here, it looks pretty good. I don't see any kind of weird chamber anomalies here. The locking lugs here on top are also really well machined. No burrs or any kind of tooling marks left on here. The barrel does not really have as much of a swell or flare that you'd see on some guns, but there's still a little bit there. The lockup with the barrel bushing isn't the tightest in the world. Of course, you can always kind of shop around for barrel bushings and find one that might be tighter on your barrel. One of the things that 1911s kind of need is they need a really tight barrel lockup here on the barrel bushing. As far as your link here on the bottom of your barrel, Rugers, they tend to stand on the link, from what I understand, which means it's more true to the original 1911 design. A lot of them, they may rely more on the actual lugs of the barrel. This is just my research and understanding, so that's always a good thing. The machining of the frame itself, it's cast frame, but there has to be some final finishing that has to be done. It looks very good all around. This gun is fairly new, so I can't see if there's any kind of frame battering really, but I'd imagine with the first 100 rounds, like with most guns, you're going to know if there are any problems. The casting, and I'm going to pull the trigger here, but I'm going to hold the hammer so it doesn't slam into the frame. The hammer is MIM, along with some of the other components here in the fire control group, but they don't look all that bad. I'd probably say better than some of the lower end Springfield parts, but I wouldn't put it in the category of, say, a PRP or anything like that. But overall, pretty good. The safety, it's not sharp. It's definitely larger than your standard one, your teardrop shape, but it's overall very good gun. At least down here. Slide. The lockup area here in the slide is very well machined as well. Very smooth finish. The serrations are very positive. They've been cut very well. These are supposedly Novak cut sights. I know Ruger sometimes does some weird proprietary things with some of the guns they introduce, but I don't know for certain whether or not these are interchangeable with true Novaks, but I'll have to look that up. I think these would be a good candidate in that case for Trijicon HDs. The breech face here inside of the slide, it has been shot at least 100 rounds. There's no dimpling around the firing pin, no burrs around the firing pin hole, and the ejector is looking pretty clean. I don't see any kind of like chewed up brass around it necessarily. Firing pin stop has a nice little bevel here. It's pretty much standard. Your firing pin on the Rugers is the type where it's a titanium firing pin with a extra strength spring. So it's a Series 70, not a Series 80. So there's no plunger or no frustrating little lever arms. If you actually take this thing, you totally disassemble the frame yourself. So that's also pretty nice. Overall, it's pretty nicely beveled and dehorned. Very, well, like I say, I'm a pretty big person. I can carry a 6-inch barreled revolver. I would look into carrying this. This is a pretty good gun. Seems pretty well thought out by Ruger. And maybe send it off to a 1911 Smith. I mean, like I said, the frames and slides are pretty similar to Caspian. Might want to look into some changes with the barrel and barrel bushing. Aside from that, pretty well built 1911. Excellent quality for the price point. If y'all have any questions for me, well, feel free to leave them in the comments. And I hope to do more videos. And if my buddy will let me, do a range video. All right. Thanks and gig 'em.